Okay, everyone. It is currently 7:03 on April the 14th, and I would entertain a motion for us to start the Colmar Manor General Town Meeting.
Councilmember Jackson, I'll make that motion as stated.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second. Councilmember Mendoza?
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, making roll call. Councilmember Ward 4, Ward 1. I'm looking at Ward 4 in my face. Ward 1, are you correct? Is absent. Ward 2,
Here,
say your name, please.
Councilmember Bowden.
Wa- Ward 3,
Councilmember Vivian Jackson, present.
Ward 4.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, present.
Okay, and the mayor's present. So I want to welcome everybody. This is the first time we're trying something like this. It's amazing how the world changed in a month. A month ago today, we were all actually in this room meeting together, and we didn't even know it was a big deal. And so the world has changed a lot. We're going to start out this meeting as usual with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you got a flag around, or if you just want to think of a flag and can stand, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, if we could take a moment, this one is a real big one, a moment of silence to think about everything that we're living through today, all of the people who we've lost in 1 month. It's been significant. People who are sick in our families, people who can't be with their families. And let's take a moment, absorb the reality of what all that is so that we can bring ourselves some strength to move forward. So let's just take a moment. Okay, so now on the other side, let's take a moment and be grateful for all the things that we do have in our lives, those who have someone with them, people who do.
Excuse me, Mayor Barrow.
Yes?
May I ask this, please? If we're not speaking, can we turn the microphones off? And that way we won't hear all the echo. When someone is speaking, they can turn the microphone on. Is that possible? Because there's a horrible echo.
I think that's a good idea. There's no reason to have have the microphone on if you're not actually speaking, and hopefully that'll be helpful. All right? So let's see if that gets a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to take our other moment of silence to be grateful for all of the wonderful things. Those of us who are healthy, be grateful for that health. Be grateful for your loved ones, those who can be with your loved ones. And let's just appreciate everything that we can appreciate about what we do have in this world. Okay, so we're going to move forward. I will read off the agenda in case anyone hasn't received it and ask if there's any necessary additions. We have the call to order, Pledge of Allegiance. Number 3 is a report on the work session. Number 4 is the mayor's report. Number 5 is the council ward reports. Number 6 is the treasurer's report. Number 7 is police report. We got messed up there. That's another 7, should be at 8. 8 is unfinished business, Department of Health declaration. Number 8 is new business, introduction to the sound ordinance. Number 9 is committee reports, including seniors, garden club, green team, Recreation Report, Prince George's Municipal, Prince George's Municipal Association, Prince George's Elected Municipal Women, and Merlin Municipal League. Okay. Councilmember Mendoza is going out and coming back in, so we can get her back on the record when she gets back in. Her screen froze. All right, so I'm going to move on. Since the last meeting, we've had a couple of, we had an emergency work session which was related to giving us the ability, and this is, I believe, it became a resolution. And Mr. Barb, you have the actual numbers, it would be helpful. I don't have it here with me. But we did a resolution that gave us the authority to close this building and to restrict people in the building and to actually make a determination as to a survey of the person condition to determine whether or not it would be okay for them to enter the building. So that got done as a single matter in a session, I believe on March 11th. Since then, we've had an emergency, since then we had a emergency session prior to our work session on Thursday, April the 2nd. That session was for us to suspend the spring election. The spring election, we passed an ordinance not only to suspend the spring election, but we passed an ordinance that allows us to suspend an ordinance in a state of emergency. So the ordinance that was passed is Ordinance 5/2020, I believe, and we then passed a resolution that would allow us specifically to suspend this election, which was scheduled for, I think, May 6th, and allows us to suspend it based on the very specifics of this state of emergency declared by the governor and a health emergency. So it's specific to this election. But the ordinance, which be long-standing, allows us in future cases where a state of emergency is called in a similar manner that we would be able to then pass a resolution to handle it for this year. So, of course, we had good reason, as you might understand, why we needed to suspend the election. The bottom line in the resolution is that the election will be held a date 90 days outside of the lifting of the state of emergency. So rather than setting a specific date at this time, we basically put in a 90 days. So within a week after the lifting of the emergency, we'll establish the actual dates and then mail that out to every household so everyone knows when the election is. All current council members, which is what was up for election, will remain in office until that time that we actually pass an ordinance. We actually have an election. We did not need any additional action for that to happen because it's already stated in our charter that whomever has been elected to office will remain in office until there is another election to take place. So that covers that process. I want to thank those who came up to get applications to participate. At the point in time when we do set a date again, the process will be exactly the same way. So even though you went out and got signatures this time, you'll have to go out and get the signatures again so that we're in a clear path as to where we are and it's not confusing who is and who isn't. So that was one item. We also passed a resolution authorizing our police officers to respond to the orders compelled by the governor as executive order from the governor, where we specifically state powers that have been provided to the police by the executive branch of the government will be applied to by, from Prince George's County and from the government, will be applied to our police so that our police will be able to serve fines. In the case that we understand, and Chief Chief Stone will say a little bit more about what the police expectations are and what they're going to be trying to do. So I'll let him, when he comes up, to give us a little bit more information about that. I will state that there is a hefty fine for people gathering more than 10 in a place. There is no specific fine for the 6 feet distancing, but as you all know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to save lives. And to save lives, we need to maintain the 6-foot distance, especially when you're standing in lines at stores and so forth, so that we are protecting our citizens, our friends, our family from what we might have. We know that this disease is asymptomatic in a lot of people. So somebody can be walking around and they have it, but they can't, but they don't know they have it because they're not sick. And they might get sick in 4 or 5 days, but they've already had it for 4 or 5 days. So if we don't maintain this 6-foot distancing, it's a problem. Some of you might know that the county executive has put in an executive order from the county that masks will be required inside all stores. We have a few up here. If somebody needs some, please let us know. I will be ordering some more. But now masks, as of tomorrow, the order starts tomorrow, and as of tomorrow, everyone will have to have a face covering on when they go inside of a public place, meaning a store or anything similar to that. I recommend also that you have gloves, because the touching of hands is touching of your face is very easy to do, and it's a hard habit to break. But you won't touch your face likely when you have gloves on, because your gloves are touching other things and you're more conscious of that. But when you have your gloves, but when you have your bare hands, you're not as conscious of yourself touching surfaces. So you would want to, if you don't have a lot, to wash them before you take them off. Good soap and water is always still the best thing, but if you have some sanitizers, that can be the case as well. So I'm gonna move on. That was one work session. Next one, we had a work session on Tuesday, April the 7th. In this work session, we also went over the ordinance that is on hold right now, which is an ordinance to establish a health department. Based on the new resolution that Mr. Barr gave us during this meeting, all the matters of whether or not we could, whether we would quarantine someone or cause someone to have to leave, or this ordinance basically will just give us the opportunity to respond to the health department requirements. So if the health department has established some sort of protocol, that we have a counterpart, which is our health department, which will just focus on the communication between us and the actual, focus on us and the Prince George's County Health Department and the state health department, so that we can get information that we need about our community that allows us to be able to ensure that everyone is safe in the community by having certain pieces of information that are limited to a health department. And so by establishing the health department, hopefully it will allow us to have more information. Fortunately, the county has started to release zip code level data, which at least gives us a closer picture of what's happening in our community. What I can say, and you guys can go out and look it up yourself, it's Prince George's, I think it's, Councilmember Jackson, you remember the name? Is it Prince George's, I know it's a dashboard. Oh, COVID-19 dashboard. That's what it is. And they've lumped our zip code in with some others, so it makes it harder to see whether or not what those splits are. But at the end of the day, there are people in all the zip codes of Prince George's County that has the virus. I'm not sure how great the data is because we're testing so little. There's testing going on at FedEx Field on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They only have about 100 tests a day. So once that 100 runs out, they're done, and they've not been actually completing their lines. So we do know that having more tests makes more difference. There have been some fatalities nearby. I will let you know that. I won't say who, what, but it has happened in this zip code. I know at least one. So this is more to say we really have to be diligent about staying apart, is keeping us together because we're all in this together and we have to work with this together. And there's an enemy out there called COVID-19. So we also talked about in the April work session, emergency management plan. Mr. Baden was able to provide for us that we already passed a policy on emergency management plans. So we're prepared to move forward with that. On the sound ordinance, we had met previously before all of this to talk about how we will go about establishing the sound ordinance. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do the intro today. We'll find out from Mr. Barr, but he has some problems with his computer. And so I don't know if the updates have happened. But in a nutshell, I will let you know what is in this sound ordinance. And once we introduce it, you'll have 60 days to communicate any interest that you have. So I'm going to give you a summary now so that you can start thinking about what might work or not work for you. We will then have a public hearing. So we talked about music, music not being amplified and based on a decimal that will be defined based on other groups. We talked about ice cream trucks and they call it outcrying, bring business to you, that the motor has to be in good order. And there also would be a decibel measurement for that and a limited time of day where they would be, where we listed 12 to 7 p.m. when they can be out. For modified mufflers and revved up engines, we want to say that they're not allowed at all. For barking dogs, if there is a dog barking for more than 30 minutes, that would be recognized as a violation, but also for humane reasons to find out why is the dog barking. Horns, again, if it's repeated for 5 minutes or more, that would be a violation. Construction. We're looking to limit construction from 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., limiting construction. Lawnmowers and equipment, we're looking to limit from 8 a.m. to dusk, and that the motor is in good order. For church amplified, again, we will be using a decimal for that. And then for scooters and dirt bikes, if they're idling trucks for over 30 minutes would be a violation for that. So those are the things that will be going into this ordinance. So if you even have any thoughts now before we're able to actually introduce it, it will not be an emergency ordinance. We will take our time, let you guys respond. Hopefully we'll have something that we can at least email out to you by next week. And then we will be calling a public hearing after we have the introduction, which will probably be May now, when we actually introduce the bill. We also went over a new schedule for our budget. As you may know, the budget, I have the budget now. Mr. Dan has given it to me. I am to get the budget to the council by tomorrow. We're having a budget meeting, which will be this way, on April 16th at 7 p.m. Again, it is a public meeting, but in the budget hearings as well as work sessions, we don't invite we may invite a resident to speak, but generally it's for listening purposes. On May 12th, we will have our public hearing, and on June 9th is when we expect to um, actually vote on the bill itself. Or yes. So that was in that meeting, the budget schedule. And then we talked about purchasing face covers and gloves for residents. And like I said, we do have some here now, and I will be putting in some orders. So if you need them or you know somebody who needs, these are not the N95 masks that we want to make sure we reserve for our health professionals and first responders. These are surgical masks, which are basically there to stop your sneezing or when you speak, not to come out to hit other people. It is not going to protect you if you're standing too close to someone and they sneeze, and this is not going to protect you from that. But anyway, that is what we did on former matters in the last month. And as far as a report from me, if I'm remembering something, I'll continue to report it as we move on with the call. But what I will say is this: if those of you who may not know, our elected officials have been absolutely amazing, from the governor from the state level down to the county level, and also emergency management within the county. We have been overwhelmed with conference calls. I've had one day, 5 in a day, where everyone wants to continue to keep us informed, make sure that we know what's going on. The county executive held a town hall, and there was 61,000 people on the call for the town hall. And that was awesome. Congressman Brown has also held the town hall. I'm sorry, not Councilman Brown, not Congressman Brown. Senator Augustine also held a town hall. The town halls are to bring everybody together. I want you guys to stay tuned to the text messages that we're sending from here. If you're not getting our text messages, please call us, because it means we don't have your phone number. And we've collected a lot of phone numbers through the parking permit program, but also the contact sheets that we were collecting before. So right now we have some kind of contact information for all but 61 homes of our 425 homes. So it's a really great percentage, but if it's your home phone number and it's not your mobile phone, you're not going to get the text. And if our email that we have for you is not the correct email, then you're not getting our emails. But we're informing you as we get all this information. And so if you stay up to date, if you're watching what we're sending to you, you'll be able to stay up to date. And that includes the information that comes from CARE, the CARE package that was passed by Congress and signed by the president. All of the beneficial things that are in the package about the unemployment and the additional unemployment you get, and the additional weeks they've added on to it, and the fact that gig workers and 1099 people can also collect from the unemployment package. There's been a delay in that because they didn't have logistically the process in place for that. And so I will be looking that up again to see if they've moved on so that that can happen. About the monies, about your rights, that you cannot be evicted during this period of time. You cannot be foreclosed on during this period of time. You have a right to ask for forbearance on a mortgage. And there's several parts to that, and different banks do it differently. But anything, if you have questions about stuff, Ms. Cooper, Kayla, has been studying the details of these things, so she's going to be helpful to you in helping you fill out forms for small businesses and what's available in the business community. Ms. Jackson, who is a banker, is right in the middle of, Councilmember Jackson, right in the middle of all of this, so she's understanding it. So you have some resources available to you if you need some help understanding where do you need to go and what you need to do. So please take advantage of us being here. I will go ahead and move on to my council members to see, get their reports. And if I think about something else, I'll just bring it up later on. So Ward 1, I would like to know, would someone, like to make a motion to excuse, Councilmember Blue?
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember Blue.
Okay, that's Councilmember Bowden making that motion. Is there a second?
Councilmember Jackson was second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Hope
None.
she feels better.
Yes, we hope she feels better. That's
Yes, I hope you feel better, Miss Blue.
So I'm gonna call for, I'm gonna say all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. I forgot to bring my gavel. So that motion passed. Okay, so for a report from Councilmember Bowden, Ward 2.
I'd just like to thank everybody in my ward who's doing everything they're supposed to be doing with this coronavirus out here. Just continue to do everything that you've been doing, and we are all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those words. Councilmember Jackson, Ward 3.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and whoever else is listening. I really don't have a report for Ward 3. Just want to hope that all residents stay safe and also try to stay home as much as possible. I just want to say thank you to a resident in Ward 4, Adam. I see him around the town always picking up trash and stuff. I think last Friday was so windy, and I was also corporate of setting my trash out early, and my trash was all over the grounds. My husband and I and my son were picking up trash at 8 o'clock in the morning. But I've seen Adam walking with his dog and his friend, and he's picking up trash in town. So I really want to appreciate that. I really want to thank him for that. Also, Monica is a resident in Ward 2. We have two Facebook pages. We have one that we keep up with the town, but then we have another one called Colmar Manor. And she's been really pushing information out there for our residents. So I just want to thank those two individuals. And everybody be safe. Thanks.
All right, well, thank you so much. Councilmember Mendoza, Ward 4.
Good evening, everyone. I don't really have a ward report, but I just want to just wish everybody just well wishes. Stay calm, stay healthy, and stay well.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, everybody, let's moving on. Okay, treasurer's report, Mr. Baden.
Yep.
So I don't think we got the report, or somehow or another. So you're gonna have to wing it and let us know what's on there, and then we'll make sure that it's available for the public.
Yeah, I sent it to Kayla last week, so if I would have known that, I probably could have pulled it up, but it might take a minute to do that now, so I could give well, let's hold on a minute and see if I could pull it up.
Do you remember the email? I mean, the name that you put? Oh, here's March. Is it March Treasurer's Report?
Yep.
Okay, I see it now.
Are you going to try to bring it up, or you want me to look for it?
I got it. You want me to read it out?
No, I've got it in front of me, so I could read it. You could actually share your screen and show everyone else, or I could read it, whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, if I can figure out how to.
Maybe I'll just read it.
But if we could do both, it would be helpful. Do you know how to go about doing a share screen?
I could do it.
I've never used this before, so I'm not familiar with it.
Let me see if I've got it. Colmar Manor. I don't have, let me see. Back to that. And
Okay, I got it. Can y'all see that?
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I
You're
can
welcome.
see it. Thank you, Mayor. Oh, looks good. Yeah.
all right. Well, as you can see, the mayor has up the March 2020 Treasurer's Report. This covers the first 9 months of the current fiscal year. Our fiscal year ends on June 30th. So, the mayor stated earlier, we're having a budget meeting on Thursday to go over the first draft of the fiscal year 2021 budget. Go to town meeting, but so I will review the March report. You can see in front of you there on line 40, the total revenue in the first column for all of our funds are $1,304,356. Going up to the top of that page, if the mayor will scroll up, you could see under line 4, real estate taxes, total budget for real estate taxes, or total actual received is $912,000. That's our largest revenue source. Total budget for real property taxes is in column H of $940,000. So right now we're about $28,000 below budget on real property tax collections. We should collect those by the end of June. Under next item down is personal property taxes. Those are taxes we collect based on the value of business property inventory. $68,418 against $80,000 budgeted. We still have some additional monies to collect there. The users revenue is $23,738 against a $52,184 budget. We've only received, there's a lag time in receiving those monies. And that is also a revenue source that will be impacted by the coronavirus. So, we should get some updated information on that in the next month or so, but I would expect that to be impacted. Income taxes, it is $65,000 out of a budget $110,000. Again, this is another revenue source that will be impacted. It's based on the income of the residents within Colmar Manor, with all of the unemployment now because of the virus. That will most likely be affected in some regards, but the good thing is I was projecting about $135,000 to $140,000 income for income tax for this year. So we got 3 months left and $110,000 budgeted. So I think we're still going to meet the budget on the income tax line this year. We were hoping for a windfall, but I see that as highly unlikely at this point. You go down to line 18, police grant state aid, $16,227. That includes the first 3 quarters payment for state aid for police protection, so right on budget there. Rental income is at $53,235, and we budgeted $80,000. Unfortunately, at this point, we do not project receiving any more revenue in that category because we're not able to rent the hall and actually had to give quite a few deposits and rental fees back. So, based on the pandemic, that is going to be at this point a $26,000 deficit in the budget for that line item. Under red light camera revenue, we have total that's under line 25, $99,000 collected, $110,000 budgeted. The good thing is that was on target to be above budget as well. It was close to about $132,000 if I remember correctly. Unfortunately, now there's less traffic on Bladensburg Road, so maybe we'll at least meet budget, hopefully exceed it, but with less traffic means less violations. So we'll probably not going to see as high of a revenue as we thought there. Rest of them are pretty small items. So if you move on to the next page, we'll move on to the expenditures. First off, you have the general government expenditures. Total general government expenditures were $234,526. A lot of items within there. I'm not really going to hit on any of them individually. Payroll taxes and benefits is the next major category, $60,130 against a $95,354 budget. Under that, you have your senior van operations with $40,000 in costs associated with that. Following senior van, you have code enforcement at $19,136 against a $41,315 budget. We share a code enforcement officer with Cottage City, and their billing usually lags behind our financial reports. So I believe the figure you see there is probably only through January at this point. So February and March figures are not in there. Public Works, total expenditures for the 9 months were $184,208. This includes salaries of $77,000, street lighting of $15,000, waste collection of $54,000, being the three highest expenses within the Public Works Department. Below that's the Community Center Town Hall, $233,922. Largest portion of that budget is the debt service, which are the equivalent to mortgage payments on the town hall that was built in 2010. Rest of that is mainly utilities and maintenance on the municipal building. Continuing on to the next page, we have public safety. Most of these items are under budget, and as many of you know, the police department has been understaffed for a large portion of the year. We will be bringing on another officer at the end of the month, and that will leave 2 more vacancies, which we are looking to fill, and there is advertisement out for that. Total for, as I said, for public safety was $207,546, and then the police chief, when we had a shared chief with Cottage City for part of the year, was broken out separately. That is no longer the case, and that will be combined into the public safety budget as we move into fiscal year 2021. Community center operations, $59,857. Majority of that is made up of salaries for the recreation rental expense. Again, our rental expense, is really, not expected to incur any for the rest of the year. Has been anticipating on renting out the facility, anytime soon. So the total expenditures on the last page were $1,047,579. And net income or surplus so far this year is $256,766. That's a quick overview of the treasurer's report. I ask you to accept the report as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Baden. Is there any, is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion to accept the treasurer's report. This is Councilmember Mendoza.
Is there a second?
Everyone muted?
Sorry, yes, I was muted. Sorry about that. Councilmember Jackson makes the second motion.
All right, any discussion?
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
I will mention for everybody's purview, the fact that, tax date changed to July 15th, could have a significant impact on the income, net income, because, here, income taxes, because there might not be much more additional filing, from this point forward. And, everyone should understand. I mean, we have been doing very, very good. If you look at the percentages, we would be normally running at 75%. In most of these cases, we're either on target at 75% or below it, in terms of the expenses in these individual budgets. What's saving us right now is the fact that we haven't had police in a long time. So it's caused us, our budget, to have some funds in it to sort of cushion us up against, this type of the cost that we're losing. And I will also mention that we are hoping, and, I have spoken to congressmen and the senators' offices about a part of their package, because they'll have a new package to make sure, just like they're offering money to businesses to recoup their losses as long as they keep their employees, we would like to ask them to help recoup our losses, because we are holding on to our employees. We dramatically cut, the staff. Those who can are working at home for the primary point of time, which is difficult to get a whole lot of work at home if you haven't really set up everything to work that way. But they are doing an excellent job. I want, at the backs of my employees that are really doing a yeoman's job of like staying informed and keeping everybody else informed. But we are keeping our employees, and we're paying them the same thing that we would pay them if they were full-time here. So, we're going to be asking for that relief, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that as well. Any more discussion? Okay,
This is
go ahead.
Councilmember Jackson. Just want to thank Dan. I think, like you said, our budget, we have a cushion because of the police department, but we also have a very conservative treasurer. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for saying so. You're right. It's kept us clean for a long time now. And we appreciate that. So I'll call for a vote. Ward 1 is absent. Ward 2? Ward 2?
Oh, she's probably muted.
Oh, are you muted, Cynthia?
Okay, there it goes. Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Oh, aye.
Okay, Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
All right, mayor votes aye. Okay, so moving on. The next order of business is our police report.
I'll put myself back on mute.
Chief
Good
Stone,
evening, Mayor
Are
and
you still
Council.
sharing your window?
I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here now.
Maybe it'll help.
I don't see.
There you go. You got it.
I made an
Okay,
adjustment
all right.
on, there were,
Oh, no. So Chief, do you have a report?
yes, and I did submit it, and if we're in the same situation as Mr. Baden's, I'll make sure the mayor and council receive it, and I'll put it on the website as well. I'm not as talented as to share it on the screen, so we're not even going to try that one right now. But we'll go over. Well, before I get into that, I did want to mention that just for the meeting tonight, that it is being recorded on WebEx, and we're recording it on video, and it will be replayed beginning tomorrow on YouTube. We're not, unfortunately, able to put it out live on the cable TV tonight, but it will be available for review. Going into the police report for March 2020, there were 7 reports police reports taken during the month of March in the town of Colmar Manor. That compares to 11 from February. 3 of the reports were for thefts from auto in the commercial area, and that compares to 7 reports from last month. Doing double duty here, and I hope to cut out that noise, but I'm not.
Right, what is that?
I'm not
Somebody
sure.
breathing into the mic.
That's the mayor's mic, but she's muted for a moment. But okay, my apologies there. And for the police report, I mentioned the thefts from autos in the commercial areas. We had 3 in the month of March and 7 in the month of February. So it was cut by half. And I hope to be able to attribute that to more police presence down there from both officers from the Prince George's County Police Department, those working part-time at the shopping center, and our neighbors at the Cottage City Police Department. They've been very helpful over the last couple of months in providing extra patrols of the shopping center, and hopefully that has deterred some of the criminal activity there. We had, I'd like to also mention that our Public Works Department found some abandoned property in the 3800 block of Newark Road. It was Amazon boxes, opened and kind of discarded. They were found to have been stolen from Northeast DC, and although not all of the property was recovered and returned to the owner, some of it was, and they were happy with that. On the 13th, we had certainly an incident of concern in the 4300 block of Newton Street. We had multiple reports of gunfire. Officers located, determined that the gunfire came from a residence in the 4300 block of Newton Street. They did make an arrest in that, and that is a resident of the town who has had a number of police contacts in recent months, and we'll be working with the owner of that residence and hopefully stop that from happening again. That person has not been gone to trial yet, and with the current court status of closed until May 1st, I don't know when that's going to go to trial. It's probably a couple months off at this point. There was an assault reported at a business in the shopping center, customer dispute that turned into an assault. No major injury, was a minor injury in that. And police received a report of a harassment complaint in the 3600 block of 41st Avenue. That's a kind of an ongoing neighbor issue, and we are endeavoring. It's prime for mediation. Unfortunately, with the current status, with everything being closed and limits on gatherings and meetings and all that, it's been difficult to arrange that mediation. But once that is possible, we will see that is done. And we talked about staffing and how it's helped the budget. And I do have some good news as far as the police staffing. We I have the sergeant's position will be filled. One of the commanders from the Bladensburg Police Department is retiring and will be coming aboard with us and should be able to start prior to the next meeting. And I have one more officer that is finalizing his testing process. So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have 2 in position. Those are experienced officers. Although experienced, they still have to go through just the testing process and background process, just as if they're new officers. That includes neighborhood checks, criminal checks, psychological, physical, and polygraph. And one is completely through that and ready to start, and just going through the signing out process from Bladensburg, and the other one hopefully will complete that very soon. Mayor had mentioned the governor's order referenced gatherings of more than 10 people and the fines associated with that. It's incarceration and up to a $5,000 fine. It's pretty serious, but it's a life or death situation, and we will be out discouraging people from congregating. It's actually been pretty good. I describe it as kind of a Sunday around here every day, and everybody notices there's a lot less people gathering. The parks have been, the kids aren't hanging out on the equipment anymore. They've been blocked off. The rims have been taken down from the basketball courts. So we're trying to work with people and discourage it as a last resort. Though we'll start the criminal charges. And I believe that's all I have. Any questions?
Mute me. How do I not?
Yeah.
Oh, you muted.
Yeah, we were getting some. You should be unmuted now.
It still shows she's muted. There you go. You're on.
Oh, okay. I'm back. All right. Is there a message to, is there a motion to accept the police report?
I make that motion. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Val.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
You can't motion in second, Council. Okay. So is there any discussion?
Yes, this is Councilmember Jackson. Just want to, Chief, if you can relay this message to Carter City, we really appreciate them helping us out to patrol the shopping center. And I know you can't wait till you get your new officers to join you. I know it can be lonely. That's it.
Oh my goodness, yes, thank you. I will pass that on. And we are in discussions, for lack of a better word, to formalize the patrol of the Colmar Manor commercial area by Cottage City Police Department, and it may extend to the patrol of the Cottage City commercial area by Colmar Manor, but that's being discussed between the two towns now.
I'm sorry. Also, Chief, is it possible you can put something up on our Facebook page as far as with domestic violence? I know that because of everything that's going on and just reading other jurisdictions, domestic violence is on the rise. So on our Facebook page as far as a number that someone that can call.
I will do that.
Councilmember Mendoza, you have something? Okay. I will also add, and again, also on behalf of me as well, thank Cottage City for looking out for the center, and also whether or not people are gathering or too close or things like that. I want to thank our stores for starting to put up more signs. They actually copied the one that we put out on the door and put them at the different cash registers so that people will stand back and have put out messages to stay 6 feet apart and things like that. So I want to report the Access for Health, the Port Towns Health and Wellness Center has texted me yesterday about noting a crowd of people congregating and doing so even without masks on around their center. And that they've been hearing from some of the neighbors because, they, just like us, everybody is limiting their staff. So they have some concerns over there. If you could keep an eye on that a little bit, that would be great to make sure that that's okay. All right, anybody else? All right, I'll call for a vote.
Mayor,
one.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I apologize. This is Councilmember Jackson. This was, you were saying that some people were hanging over in the area in Ward 4. I really think some of those individuals are homeless. So is there any way that we can get masks to them? And pass them out or something to the homeless that's in the area?
I don't have a problem. Maybe Chief Stone, you can grab some of the ones that we have, some of the new ones. If you see somebody out there without a mask, you can give them one.
Certainly.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
So I'll call for a vote. Ward 1 is absent. Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Okay, mayor votes aye. Thank you for that report, chief. Okay, so moving on to what was to be our Department of Health declaration. Mr. Barr, what is your update on your status and when we would actually get the final on that?
Mayor, I should be able next week to get that to you. I think in the interim that if you wish, you may create in yourselves by voice, by motion, second, and voice vote, a statement that you all are creating a Board of Health and you're designating the mayor and council as the Board of Health with the mayor as the president of the or chairman of the Board of Health and the members of the council as the members of the Board of Health. And the resolution will catch up to you.
Okay, so being
Mayor,
said,
Mayor, I regret I don't have any way of reviewing the resolution which is out there. I can go over it with Kayla tomorrow if you wish, and get something ready for you all to sign off on. I don't think in the time of this time of crisis that will be necessary, and I believe you can move on without it.
well, you know what, I might have, let me take a look. I might have it on my computer. I just have to get used to it. So while I'm trying to find this, how about we handle, do you want to go with what the status of the intro to the sound ordinance is going to be?
The sound ordinance I have a draft of. However, I understand from the chief, Chief Stone, that Bladensburg is also in the process of drafting a noise ordinance. And I would like to look at theirs, take advantage of what they're doing. And he has sent me a copy, but like most things, it's traveling with my computer. And I don't have access to it at the moment, working access to it. But I will have something for review at the work session and for introduction at the May meeting of the mayor and council, the general meeting.
Okay, fair enough. But you do have the notes. Could you read my notes? Because that was handwritten.
Oh, of course.
You're okay. Okay. So you understand, because everybody does their ordinances different.
They were better than mine. Mine would be clear as mud. Yours were readable.
That's not often said. So thank you. Because we want to, and everybody does their ordinances differently, but we did decide that we wanted the different requirements to be tied directly to a type of situation. So we didn't just have one distance or one decimal thing, but specific to a dog, specific to a lawnmower, specific to construction. So each one of those sound requirements will be different for different people. I have found,
If I might add to that, there will be a general rule and there will be a list of specific situations as outlined in your memo, which will be part of the legislation.
Okay. And the one thing that we didn't do was to come up with what a fine might be and whether or not there would be different fines for different situations. So if you see any breakdown in anyone else's ordinances that sort of do that, that would be interesting.
I will look for it. I haven't seen anything. Normally the fine is a general fine that's put out for any violation. I think your suggestion has merit, and perhaps the mayor and council will think about the different violations as set forth in your memo, the specific ones, to give a fine as a municipal violation. Well, not a criminal offense. It's not a misdemeanor. It's simply going to be like a traffic ticket, which would be in the ordinance. A barking dog may be one amount, and a mufflerless engine may be another. So that's something for everybody to think of, and I'll get what information I can for everyone.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so I found the ordinance that we went over last week for the health department. So this would be an emergency ordinance creating a board of health for the town of Colmar Manor, stating the concerns of the mayor and town council in establishing the board and setting forth its powers and responsibilities. Whereas Section 5-209 of the local government article of the Encoded Code of Maryland provides for the establishment of a board of health by Maryland municipal governments, which means the state's saying that we can do this. Whereas the mayor and town council of Colmar Manor has made the determination as set forth herein that a board of health may provide useful in the future given localized outbreaks of infections and contagious diseases and other health-related conditions and situations. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the mayor and town council of Colmar Manor. All that other stuff has been stricken. That while the mayor and town council have every faith and confidence in the presently existing Maryland and Prince George's County health departments and its appointed officers and employees, the mayor and town council believe that the appointment of and empowerment of a board of health of the town of Colmar Manor is sensible action to create a channel of communication between the state and town and county and town. That the mayor and town council now therefore be enacted by the mayor and town council of Colmar Manor, that a new section 5-201 be and same is enacted as an addition to the Colmar Manor Code to read: the mayor and town council now therefore be enacted, the mayor and town council of Colmar Manor, I read that already. Board of Health, pursuant to the provisions of section 5-209 of the local government article of the Encoded Code of Maryland Board of Health, is hereby created for the town of Colmar Manor, designated as the Colmar Manor Board of Health. Members of the Board of Health chair the duly elected and serving members of the mayor and town council of Colmar Manor, and their successors in office are hereby appointed members of the Colmar Manor Board of Health. The mayor shall serve as chair. Powers: The mayor and town council sitting on the Board of Health shall have the powers and duties granted to a municipal board of health under the state law. Authority. The scope of authority of the Board of Health resides in Section 2-509A through Section 5-209C of the Local Government Annotated Code of Maryland. Additional duties. In addition to the other duties provided by law, the Colmar Manor Board of Health shall meet in May and October of each year and at any other time the board considers necessary. Number 2, coordinates its activities with Prince George's County Health Department and the State of Maryland Health Department. Reports to the Prince George's County and State of Maryland Health Department on matters of the town wherever the board considers it is important and necessary to do so. Solicit information from Maryland State Health Department about matters relevant to the safety of the residents in the town. Severability. Be it further enacted that if any term, condition, or provision of this ordinance shall to any extent be held to be invalid and unenforceable, the remainder thereof shall be valid in all other respects and continue to be effective. In the event of a subsequent change in applicable law so that the provisions which had been held invalid is no longer invalid, said provisions shall thereupon return to full force and effectiveness without further action of the town. Emergency ordinance, and be it further ordained that this ordinance is and its purpose are hereby found and declared by the mayor and town council to be an emergency ordinance adopted and provided by the unanimous consent of the mayor and town council and pursuant to the provisions of the Section 307 of the Charter of the Town of Maryland, Town of Colmar Manor, which provides that an emergency ordinance be adopted on the day of its introduction, and if so adopted as an emergency ordinance, it may become effective on this day of adoption. So the purpose of this ordinance is just very clear. It's to open a channel of communication between us and the other health departments. Because as you know, everyone is saying it over and over again, testing is the #1 way for us to know where the virus is. But number 2, contact tracing is the second most important thing in order to help locate people who have been contacted by other people. And without any information about how the contact tracing is working or how far or deep that goes into our community, those are people who are untested, but still potentially problematic. We don't need to know who particular people are. We just need to know the impact and how lengthy that door is open for people who that may be defined as contact traced, so that we can better protect ourselves and better inform people of what they know. So is there a motion for us to go ahead and adopt this ordinance?
Do you have to be a council member to do that?
Yes, you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion to adopt this ordinance. This is Councilmember Mendoza.
Is there a second?
I'll second Councilmember Jackson.
Okay, discussion.
Thank you for everyone that's worked on this, from the residents that were involved, mayor and council. Thank you. And Mr. Barr.
All right, thank you so much, because and that really makes a big difference, because we really have cleaned it up a lot. We took the comments that came from our residents and nailed it down to what we really needed it for by separating out the building from this to just be about communication. So I will call for a vote. Ward 1 is absent. Ward 2. You on mute?
Yeah, I think she's muted.
Can you unmute her, Chief? Okay,
Aye.
she's,
Oh, there she
okay,
goes.
there you go. Ward 3, Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. So when you guys get a chance to come around and put on signatures, we can move forward with asking the county and the state, letting them know that we have this now and would like to have some direct communication with them. All right,
Mayor,
moving on.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Barr?
the minutes should reflect that the ordinance was adopted by those members unanimously of it present. Excuse me, that doesn't sound right. It should read that the ordinance was adopted unanimously by all members present and voting.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can do that. All right, so moving on, I thank everybody so much. Do we have a seniors report?
No, because, yeah, Miss Blue's not here.
So I will report that we did keep running the senior bus for groceries and doctor's appointments only, mirroring what the county was doing with the bus and with Metro Access. Since then, and as of this week, I have shut the bus down. I am highly concerned about our seniors. If there are people who you know are willing to go shopping for them, pick up their medications, that's what we need instead of having them going out in public. There's been too many circumstances where the senior homes have been infected, so I have made an executive decision and shut the bus off. And if anyone calls, I would love to have some names of people who could go and do shopping for them. So if you're one of those people who might be able to do that, or just, or drop off things at on their porch, that would be helpful. And so I will, so let me know. I do, want to put a shout out to our seniors who are taking the biggest brunt of this, and feel for all of you who may be losing grandparents and aunts and great uncles and things like that. So, and unfortunately, they can't meet, so we can't have our regular meetings either. We'll have to figure out something as long as this goes on in order to keep them as busy as we're trying with the children. Is there a garden club report? I see Ms. Epps on the phone. Can you unmute?
Hello.
There you go.
Good evening to all. The only report I have, my concern is that the gardeners, we have many that wants to come back, but collecting the funds, I'm thinking about suspending the funds and return the funds to the ones that already paid, and let them, because no one's working right now, and a lot of them probably cannot afford to pay this time, and try to see if geared towards the residents having applied only.
Well, I mean, it's up to you guys as a club to make that decision. I mean, we do want to, I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, it's like we're losing the gardening season so fast because we're so involved in everything else that's going on here that we really do need to be planting some food because we don't know what our circumstances are going to be in the next couple of months. I mean, right now there's a lot of food being given away, but we need to take care of home.
Yeah, see, I was just thinking about this while you guys was online talking, that because we have no fundings coming in. I did put in a budget. I'm hoping that y'all consider the budget that Garden is asking for. I know we might not get what we're asking, but I do appreciate if we can get something. But if we can just focus on the residents only, because the East Garden is filled up, but the West Garden we still have plots available.
Mm-hmm.
And we are working on the picnic tables and the other table that's in the East Garden. My daughter-in-law and I has stripped the table and getting ready to paint it.
Okay.
This is Councilmember Jackson. Ms. Epps, we really appreciate you keeping up with the garden. I know that having a garden could be relaxing at this time. So I was wondering, maybe we can try to reach out to our residents that do have a garden and schedule I guess, a time that they can go in there. Whenever that will work. I know I.
Yeah, I could send an email out to them and let them know to try to make sure there's only 2 to 3 people in there at a time. Or with the West Garden, it could be more because they're more spaced out. But the East Garden, they're all close together. So if we can, yeah, I can send an email out requesting that.
Well, that would be good.
Maybe we can put some also on the garden door, just saying more than 2 people at a time entering.
Yeah, I could do that, but I don't. That's why we definitely need a bulletin board at both gardens because with the weather, with the wind blowing, the paper might blow off. But I'll try to put something up though. I will. And Mayor, you were saying that the town has something about at the town hall about coming about spacing. So maybe I can follow suit what you have written already.
Oh, about people keeping their spaces. Oh, yeah. I can I'll have one of the public works guy bring it down and put it on the fences.
Okay, that'll be great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great.
Yep. All right.
I think that's about it on the report. You just got to get the resident out, but I want them to. I'll send an email out to them, let them know if they want a garden. I'm not charging the ones that's paid. I'm going to return their money, and but I need to know who's all involved. They can't just go down there and pick a plot and start planting.
So it might be useful to do one of these WebEx calls. People need to start seeing people, and these calls help because, we can still see each other. It's not just, an email that comes in and people respond to it, but it's actually people actually being able to see each other and talk to each other. So if we can use this that we now have, and I want to thank Kayla like crazy on getting these things set up. We didn't have anything. We didn't want to use free conference call because the conference calls were being as overwhelmed as the hospitals. And so she found us something that would have worked, but then the state came out just last week and said, don't use that particular service because it could harm your computers. And a really big turnaround, she had to get another service in. I kind of like this. I think that we could get used to what we can use it for and what benefits it has to us. So you might want to do that with your garden club and maybe the green team, so the teams can still keep getting together.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk to Kay about it more. If I'll try to set up something on Saturday.
Okay.
Because our garden club meets Saturday.
So then that's a chance.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. All right, we have a green team meeting. Green team update.
No, this is Councilmember Jackson. I have no report for our green team, but I am going to take your offer up and maybe reach out to see if we can maybe do a video chat with Carter City in May. I can say if any green team members is listening, I truly do miss you all, and hopefully soon we'll be back to normal. That's it.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. And from a green
Mayor,
sustainability
it's,
perspective, I'm sorry, was somebody saying something?
yes, it's John Barr. For the record, who gave the garden club report?
Doretha Epps.
Thank you, Doretha. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. I also, I'm just thinking about the green team, and one thing I was noticing, I meant to mention it while we were looking at the budget, but for the electricity in the building, you know, we have all LED lights, and with a little pushback from Mr. Baden, I really believed that we were going to get some of that savings this year and reduced our cost of the lighting in the budget. And we're still well under and doing very well. So this reduction in the building has made a big difference. And so I would like for us to, you know, really focus on whatever we can do to get the LED lights throughout the whole town. So that's because that'll cut down on our street lighting cost. So look forward to that. And I thank the green team for everything they put together. It gives us direction on what we're working on. So I will, the recreation report,
No restoration.
everything's
No
canceled.
restoration. Can y'all hear me? No restoration report due to COVID-19.
Absolutely. Thank you. Prince George's Municipal Association, Councilmember Mendoza.
So everything is like to a halt. I know, ladies, you got an email about it's election time for PGCMA. So everything is just, So I believe today was the last day to get nominations in. They're doing nominations through email. So
Oh, wow. I'm going to put the mayor in there.
yeah, we should. Let's send it in before midnight.
Okay, I'm be working after I get
Put her for all of them. Put her for all positions.
Don't put me down for secretary. I don't want to do secretary stuff.
And then watch, you're gonna end up getting that position.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nope. I had to go through that with Maryland Mayors Association. We had to be a secretary for a year. It's like, oh my God.
Those, are you going to,
What would she say?
are you going to run again for PGCMA?
I feel like I've been on the board for, no, it's time to open up a spot on the board. So I did a good 3 years.
Yes,
So,
I did too. I do agree.
yeah.
Yes, you did. You absolutely have.
Yeah.
So,
So nothing on PGCMA.
okay. Prince George's elected municipal women.
No report. Our last meeting was in February the 14th. We were hoping to do something in April, but I have no report at this time.
Okay. And then MML. Any special things the board's doing on MML, Councilmember Mendoza?
Everything with MML, it's just relaying whatever the governor is putting out there. MML is putting out the same thing. And with the leadership with Ryan Spiegel, he's on Facebook all the time. He's putting out messages. But yeah, everything that the governor puts out, MML backs it up. So you'll see a lot of that.
Well, I also want to thank MML for a couple of the conference calls that have been with the congressmen and senators have been initiated by MML, ones that are specifically for municipalities. And they are standing up for us to try to get funds to help us with the losses that we've had. And they're doing their job. They're out there and they're pressing for us to, you know, get what municipalities need. This last round, if people don't know, the state got money in the last round, and jurisdictions over 500,000 people got money. But that doesn't include us. And so they're urging the state of the Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, urging the state and the county to move some of that money down to the municipalities. So we have to be proactive in doing that, and MML is right there for us. So we appreciate that. Before I go to citizen comment, I want to remind everybody that this is census season. And you can go out on the census website to see what percentage of people have done their census from Maryland, Prince George's County, and the town of Colmar Manor. So they go down in levels where we can actually see how much has been done. I did not look today. I think as of yesterday, or maybe Sunday, we were at like 50%. So this is census month. We're 50% in the month. So let's just say that we go ahead and ramp up those numbers. We're hanging right in there with the whole state of Maryland. We're not lower than Maryland, but we're just right there, pitch perfect with what Maryland is. But we want to do the best. And so if you haven't done your census yet, please do. If you know of someone who is not likely to do their census, please encourage them to do so. Some flyers will be going out this weekend to remind people to do their census. We're behind schedule. We were planning on having a drawing today, which is what's on the flyers, that there was going to be a drawing of all the people who have done their census. If you have done your census and you have evidence that you did your census, and I'm sure they either send you an email or something, I haven't done mine yet because it's a little complicated. So I got some other things I have to do. And you have evidence, we will still be doing the drawing, and we will be giving out gift cards, and we'll be giving out fit watches. So, you know, we all need a fit watch right now, because with so much downtime, you got to look and have that little man come and says, move, get up and move, you know. And so we will be giving those out, and we will be doing the drawing soon. We'll keep you notified by either text or email to let you know when we'll have the drawing, so that you can know to call us and let us know that you did complete your census. And so only those people who completed their census will be able to do that. I also want to say that we are offering pay for people to communicate with others, even if it's by phone. If you speak Spanish and can make some phone calls on our behalf. Our budget format has changed dramatically because a lot of the money in our budget was to do things in-house, and now we can't do things in-house. So we have to find more creative ways in order to communicate with everybody, so that we can get that voice out there, and particularly to our Latino population, to ensure that their numbers are being counted, because, you know, whatever your status is not relevant. Your kids still are going to school here, and you still need fire and police and libraries and all these things we still need. So therefore, all people, no matter what U.S. status that person is in, and we need to know those numbers. So if anybody knows anybody can help, or if you can help, please let us know, and we'll make some arrangements. We're paying people to help us do this. And we got funds from the state through a grant to help us do this. So if you want to participate, this will be a great way to participate. All right, so now I'll go to the citizen comments. Do we have any citizens that would like to be unmuted to make a comment? I think you can raise your hand. Okay, we've got Monica.
I don't know
Okay,
if they
you're
can raise their
open.
hand, but
Oh, awesome. Hi, thank you. And actually, thanks for all that you all do. This is the first time that I've sat through one of these meetings, and I think it was great.
Say your name.
Sure, my name is Monica Castañas.
Can you see, say what 100 block and what street you live on?
Sure, I'm on 39th Avenue.
Okay.
So I know that everyone's super busy, but I just wanted to find out or even propose that there be a Latin advisory group, a Latino advisory group established. And I wanted to just ask what we're currently doing to reach out to non-English speaking households. I know that the town translates everything into Spanish. I think that the outreach efforts need to be ramped up. And so I wanted to pose that question. And then I also wanted to ask what the current needs of our town residents are now. I know that there was outreach done to the senior residents, but I've been hearing from different towns what needs their towns have. I've heard that there's been an increase in arrests from people robbing supermarkets, and it seems like what they're stealing is baby food. And a lot of the people that are committing these acts are non-English speaking people. So I'm getting a little concerned and worried that there's no outreach being done to that community. So yeah, so I just wanted to ask that of the mayor and of the council.
So I really like the idea of Latino advisory group. I think that that is well warranted, and I will put that request out and see what we can get and see who's interested. I don't know if you know it, but somebody from Casa de Maryland lives here in town, and she became a resident about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and what I do know, I know they are like super outreaching. She knows things about people in town that I don't even know about what's going on in some of the individual households. So we're really super lucky to have them here. In a lot of ways, they try to keep people's information confidential. But what I will tell you is that just like I put Renee on contacting the seniors and trying to find out what their needs are and what they're trying to do. I also put Christian on making phone calls to all of the different numbers that we have on our list to reach out to people, make sure those numbers are good numbers, and to just see what people need. So he's been doing that, even though mostly working at home. He's been doing some calling on that. It's going to take a lot longer. It's a lot more people that he has on his list than Renee had on her list, because we were just dealing with the seniors on our election list. So we are doing that outreach by phone as you speak, so that we can start. And then Christian speaks Spanish fluently, so he's able to communicate with those who cannot speak English. And so hopefully that's going to even tighten up better how close we know people, and know what people's circumstances and who needs help. And then he can translate some of the potential services to the services that are available to people in Spanish as needed. I'll also say that there's a lot of people advocating for a lot of these programs to help, economic programs to help, do not include people who are who documents are not in order. I'm not even certain, the answer hasn't even come back, whether or not dreamers are on this list of, so it's been asked by many, many people, and there's folks going back saying, okay, we got to look at the law and see whether or not it's really including these people. And so the need may be very, very serious, because if you lost your job and you were, say, a gig worker or a construction guy getting paid on the side, at the end of the day, when the work got done and you're a day worker, you're not getting paid right now. And it is a population that potentially really falls. So you make a really, really good point. And I like the Latino advisory group. I will start thinking about how to structure something like that and get that going. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for considering that. I was also trying to figure out ways to do some outreach in the community to that particular segment of the population. I was thinking about establishing a WhatsApp group for the town, and posting up maybe some signs that just say, if you're looking to get resources or help, dial or message this WhatsApp number. So I have a separate phone that's not my personal phone that I'm gonna use, that I was planning on using as a way to connect people to resources, because I know that a lot of immigrants in general have the WhatsApp application on their phone. So I was wondering, I was actually looking to see if there was funding to help do this, to maybe put signage out on the different street corners that would help. It could either be that WhatsApp number or it could be another number. But I think maybe that's something to look at since we're not able to door knock.
Right, and that's where the problem is that it gets to, how do we connect the people when we can't go to those doors directly? Call me later, so I can talk about that. I've never used WhatsApp. I've heard of it before, but I just got to get a better feel. Anything that's tied to the census, we can pay for something. If it's just tied to COVID-19, we don't know anything yet, but we are expecting to be able to submit money to FEMA. So I would be encouraged to can probably play it up by the census, but also add details about COVID-19, sort of tied the two together so that the funds are there for us to do some things. You create a flyer for me and let me see it, okay?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, Monica.
Any other citizen comments? Okay, with none, do the council members have any more good for the order?
I
Okay,
just want to say, everybody, stay calm, stay well, and just be well.
yes, absolutely. Everybody, 6 feet, 6 feet, gloves and a mask. 6 feet, gloves and a
Yes,
mask.
gloves and your mask, especially the mask.
Yeah, stay home if you can.
And stay home when you can. And let's just say that over and over again, everywhere you go. I am so glad that the county executive has passed that order. So tomorrow, you see anybody out and about and don't have a mask on, just give them a warning. Say, you guys, you know this against the law now, right? Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make that motion to adjourn this meeting, Councilmember Jackson.
Okay, it worked out really good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Want to say?
Not.
Okay. Okay, motion is to adjourn is in order. Thank you. This was
Hey,
good.
Mayor,
Mhm.
you're gonna get us